Mes chers jeunes compatriotes,
My dear young
je
Cameroonians,
m'adresse à vous
I am addressing you barely
après la
a few
clôture
days
de la
following the
33e
end of the
édition de la Coupe
33rd
d'Afrique des Nations.
edition of the African Cup of
Total
Nations,
Energies,
Total
Cameroun
Energies African
2020.
Cameroon
Notre
2021,
pays vient
which our
d'abriter
country hosted
du 9 janvier
from the 9th of January to the 6th of
2022.
February 2022.
Comme je vous l'avais dit à la même
On the same
occasion,
occasion
il y
a year
un an,
ago,
j'ai souhaité que
I expressed the wish
CAN Total
that
Energies
Total Energies
Cameroun
AFCON
2021
Cameroon 2021
soit la plus belle de
would
toutes
be
les
the most
éditions
splendid
de la Coupe
edition
d'Afrique
of
des
the
Nations
Africa Cup of Nations
organisée sur notre
ever
continent.
organized on our continent.
Au bout du compte,
In the end,
grâce à la forte
thanks to
mobilisation
the strong mobilization and involvement of all Cameroonians,
et particulièrement
especially the
celle de la
youth,
jeunesse,
the sports
cette
competition
compétition sportive s'est déroulée
unfolded
de manière
satisfactorily
satisfaisante
in several
dans
cities of our
plusieurs villes de
country
notre pays
and
et restera
will certainly
certainement dans
be
les mémoires
remembered as one of the most successful in the history of African football.
Il y a lieu assurément
Indeed,
de s'en
there is
féliciter
reason to be
et d'en
satisfied
tirer
and
une légitime fierté.
legitimately proud
La CAN
about Total Energies
Cameroun
AFCON
2021
Cameroon
aura
2021,
été sans
as
conteste
it was
un grand
unquestionably
moment de communion
not only
pour tous.
a great moment of communion for all,
Une
but
grande
also
opportunité, une belle
an
vitrine
excellent opportunity
qui a permis à
and
toute
a
l'Afrique
splendid
et au monde
showcase for
entier
Africa and the
d'apprécier les
entire
nombreux
world
atouts du Cameroun
to appreciate Cameroon's
et singulièrement
plentiful endowments
l'hospitalité
and,
légendaire,
in particular,
la
the
vitalité
legendary
et le
hospitality,
dynamisme
the
de son
vitality,
peuple.
and dynamism of its
Ainsi,
people.
Il a su
The country
habiliter la
thus
preuve de
demonstrated
sa
its
capacité
capacity to
à faire
address
face
major
aux grands
challenges.
Cet événement sportif
Unfortunately,
de grande envergure
this major sporting
a été,
event was
hélas,
marked by the
marqué par
death
la mort
of
de 8
8
de nos
of our compatriots following a stampede at the south entrance of the Olembe Stadium.
Je tiens ici
I wish once again
à saluer
to
la
honor the
mémoire
memory
de
of the
ces
deceased.
disparus. De même,
I also
je
wish
souhaite un
a
bon
speedy
rétablissement
recovery
aux personnes
to the
blessées,
injured,
au profit
for
desquelles
whom
j'ai
I have
instruit
ordered
une
free,
prise en charge
comprehensive
intégrale.
medical care.
L'enquête que j'ai prescrite
The investigation I ordered
qui s'en sont suivis
and the ensuing
ont
measures
permis la réouverture
enabled
du stade
the
d'Olympe
reopening of
et une
the
meilleure
Olympia Stadium
fluidité de la
and better
circulation
traffic
vers ce
flow
stade.
to the stadium.
Je peux donc affirmer
Therefore,
qu'au-delà
I can say
de ce fait malheureux,
that this unforgettable
CAN
incident
Total
apart,
Energies Cameroun
Total
2021
Energies AFCON Cameroon
a été un
2021
franc succès
was a resounding
non seulement au
success
Cameroun,
that brings
mais
honor
aussi toute
not
l'Afrique.
only to Cameroon but also to Africa as a whole.
Évidemment,
Obviously,
nous avions une ambition commune,
our common ambition
celle de gagner
was
cette
to
Coupe
lift
d'Afrique
the
des Nations
Football
de football.
Africa Cup of Nations
Ajouter ici un
and
sixième
thus
trophée
add a sixth trophy to the track record of our indomitable Lions.
Mais
However,
on a décidé autrement.
fate decided otherwise.
Je peux comprendre la
I can
déception
understand
de certains.
the disappointment of some, if not all Cameroonians, especially
La CAN était
as the
organisée
AFCON
sur
was
notre
hosted on our soil.
Mais vous savez aussi que
Nonetheless,
le sport a ses réalités qu'il
you
faut
are
accepter
also aware that sport has its own realities
fair play.
that we must accept with dignity and fair play.
Les amoureux du football savent
Moreover,
mieux que
football
quiconque
lovers
que l'on
know
peut bien
better
jouer
than anyone
un
else
match,
that
tout comme
you
on
can
peut bien
play
jouer
well
et le perdre.
and win a match, just as you can play well and lose. That is why I believe what we must remember at the end of this great sporting festival is the delightful stage of the indomitable lions who throughout did fairly well. Their fighting spirit and perseverance earned them an honorable third place. I heartily congratulate and urge them to step up preparations in order to confidently engage in the sporting competitions that await them in the coming months. My dear young compatriots, despite the lingering global economic crisis compounded by the adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic that has spared no country, your problems and aspirations feature among the major priorities of the current 7-year term. In that regard, our country kept up its development efforts in the course of the year just ended by leveraging the National Development Strategy 2020 to 2030 and completing the decentralization process in line with the major thrusts of its resolute progress towards emergence in 2035. Thanks to the proper management of our economy, we continued to implement the 3-year special youth plan, which enabled the financing of 8,430 projects, 119 economic clusters, and 132 second-generation pioneer villages, as well as the creation of close to 22,000 direct jobs. Additionally, about 40 multi-purpose youth empowerment centers were built and the National Youth Observatory was effectively set up. The maiden field actions of the observatory have led to the production of 50,000 youth biometric cards to facilitate access to many basic social products and services at reduced costs. With the increasingly visible participation of diasporic youth in nation building, the government has put in place an incentive framework for their entrepreneurial initiatives through the support program for the return and integration of diasporic youth. It is worth restating that Cameroon needs all its children, including those from the diaspora, who wish to participate and engage in the national and republican drive for our country's emergence. Therefore, in the course of the year, the government intends to further support the call for projects initiative launched to enable diasporic youth to participate in the development of our country. This ambitious program is expected in the long term to encourage such youth who so desire to return and invest in Cameroon and sustainably form part of the national economic fabric. My dear young compatriots, still concerning employment, substantial efforts are made each year to create jobs and thus enable the youth to join this workforce. Hence, thanks to the youth employment promotion policy included in the Priority Action Plan 2030, 600,000 jobs are expected to be created annually with the involvement of regional and local authorities. Such actions will be intensified with the setting up of the National Employment Council, which is expected to provide new solutions to reverse the unemployment trend and improve the productivity of our enterprises. However, I am aware that the main obstacle in this regard has always been access to the most common funding for small and medium-sized enterprises. That is why, in the short term, the government plans to mobilize specific national, bilateral, and multilateral funding to support the establishment of a guarantee fund for young entrepreneurs. The said fund would provide project initiators and startups with the requisite guarantee to raise capital from financial markets or obtain financing from traditional banks. However, many programs are already being implemented as part of the day-to-day activities of several ministries with a high potential. The purpose of all of these actions is to foster and boost youth entrepreneurship. By the way, I am pleased to note that in 2021, all these programs and projects were financed to the tune of 190 billion CFA francs. This unquestionably is a significant effort that reflects the critical role small and medium-sized enterprises play in our economy. However, government intends to mobilize additional resources for SMEs with the support of our development partners. This is because definitely small and medium-sized enterprises, notably youth entrepreneurship, can and should serve as key drivers of our country's economic and social transformation. My dear young compatriots, the availability of high-quality skills that would address new development needs is one of the major challenges currently facing our country. To that end, we must expand our training offers to provide all young people with the opportunity to acquire useful and relevant skills that would open up employment opportunities in every sphere. In this light, I recently decided to create 3 new state universities in the East, North, and South regions to provide a framework for higher learning conducive to the training of competent and competitive graduates in each of our regions. In this regard, as you are aware, today's new global economy is digitally oriented, thus urging us to encourage young people to seize all the opportunities offered by digital communications through their socio-economic adaptation and application I am pleased to note that many of our youth have a remarkable mastery of digital technology, particularly through the creation of numerous startups in various fields. I urge them to be more inventive and creative in the digital economy sector, which has bright prospects for the future. Yet, while we may commend the rapid adoption of digitalization by our youth, we condemn the abuses noted in the use of such technological advances, especially on social media, where vice, hate, speech, and verbal violence abound and are increasingly rife. Accordingly, I urge our youth to use social media in a responsible, informed, and constructive manner, as their primary role is to provide platforms and opportunities for discussion, information, and communication in a wide range of fields. My dear young compatriots, the numerous actions I have just recalled, without being exhaustive, and which for the most part are designed to meet your job aspirations and expectations, serve as adequate evidence of the government of the Republic's constant solicitude for you. This is certainly in the best interest of each and every one of you, as well as of the entire nation, whose future lies in your hands. It also underscores the role young people are expected to play in view of the nation's challenges. According to credible observers, Cameroon has made remarkable strides in its economic and social development. It is resolutely forging ahead towards emergence by 2035. Despite a challenging economic context, our country is undergoing rapid transformation, and numerous opportunities are available to you in all fields. Take advantage of them, not only to achieve personal development, but also to contribute to the task of nation building, which constitutes a key challenge for all Cameroonians without exception. I further urge you to strive to preserve our invaluable achievements of peace, national unity, and institutional stability, for it is thanks to them that we have made the remarkable progress of which we are proud. Likewise, turn a deaf ear to the clarion calls for destabilization and antagonism from incorrigible detractors who claim to know everything and take diligence in systematic criticism. You might also reclaim our social and republican values, which, regrettably, it must be paid. I am thinking particularly of patriotism, civic-mindedness, respect for public property, and the general interest, culture of probity, preservation of our customs and traditions, family-mindedness, and respect for the elderly, to name but a few of such values that should constantly inspire and guide you. Furthermore, it is also obvious that the perception of our country is influenced by how some of you portray it both in home and abroad, which unfortunately has been at odds with reality in recent times. In other words, you must be aware of your role of promoting Cameroon's image and influence wherever you may be. Follow the example of some of your valiant compatriots like Francis Ngannou, Francis Chofo, and Eric Salvador Choyo, who recently won titles in their respective disciplines. Their outstanding performances and sense of duty and sacrifice highlighted their great sense of patriotism and did Cameroon proud. My dear young compatriots, I cannot conclude this message without reiterating how near and dear to my heart your problems are, and my determination as well as that of the government to find solutions to them. This is because your future and consequently that of the entire nation depends on you. I wish you all a happy Youth Day.